The first time Marcus heard laughter that night, he thought someone had told a funny joke. He was wrong. The laughter was about him. Marcus was 10 years old, skinny as a pencil, and wearing clothes that had been washed so many times they felt soft like cotton candy. On his hands were bright yellow cleaning gloves, the kind that squeak when you move your fingers. He was on his knees, wiping the shiny marble floor of the fanciest ballroom he had ever seen. Above his head, giant chandeliers sparkled like frozen fireworks. All around him, rich people danced and talked. The women wore dresses that looked like wedding cakes, and the men wore black suits that probably cost more money than Marcus's whole house. Marcus tried to be invisible. That's what his mama always told him. Baby, when we're working at these fancy places, we gotta be invisible. Keep your head down. Do your job. Don't look nobody in the eye. But being invisible is hard when you accidentally knock over a silver tray. Crash! The tray hit the floor like thunder. Fancy cookies scattered everywhere like little soldiers running away from battle. The whole ballroom went quiet. Every single person turned to look at Marcus. His heart started beating so fast it felt like a drum solo in his chest. "Oh my goodness," a voice said. It was cold, like ice water. "What do we have here?" Marcus looked up. A tall woman was walking toward him. She wore a dress the color of the ocean, bright royal blue, and her blonde hair was pulled back so tight it made her face look angry. Her shoes clicked on the marble floor. Click, click, click. Each step sounded like a warning. I'm sorry, ma'am," Marcus whispered. "I'll clean it up right now." "You certainly will," the woman said. Her voice was sweet, but not the good kind of sweet. It was a fake kind, like medicine that's supposed to taste like strawberries, but doesn't. "But first, tell me something. What is a child like you doing inside the ballroom during our party?" The way she said, "child like you," made Marcus feel small. Smaller than small. Tiny, like an ant. "My mama works here, ma'am," Marcus said quietly. "She's a maid. She couldn't leave me home alone tonight. So she brought her little janitor boy to our exclusive event." The woman laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was sharp, like broken glass. How absolutely charming. Other people started gathering around. They whispered to each other behind their hands. Some of them giggled. A man in a white suit joined the woman in blue. "Good heaven, Victoria," he said. "Is this kid actually wearing rubber gloves? To a party?" He laughed so hard his belly shook. Marcus wanted to disappear. He wanted to melt into the floor like ice cream on a hot day, but his feet wouldn't move. The woman named Victoria bent down, bringing her face close to Marcus's. She smelled like expensive perfume, the kind that makes your nose tickle. "Tell me, boy," she said, pointing at the giant black piano in the corner of the room. "Do you even know what that is?" Marcus looked at the piano. Of course he knew what it was. His mama had an old, broken piano at home. She used to play it before it stopped working. She taught Marcus everything she knew. But he didn't say any of that. He just nodded. "You know what it is?" Victoria's eyebrows went up. "How delightful. I suppose you think you could play it too?" She turned to the crowd. "Can you imagine? This little floor scrubber playing our $10,000 grand piano." A woman in a purple dress laughed. "Maybe he thinks the keys are like a washboard. He could scrub them clean." Everyone laughed. The sound filled the ballroom like angry bees. Marcus felt heat rushing to his face. His eyes started to sting, but he bit his lip hard. He would not cry. Mama always said crying doesn't fix problems. It just makes your eyes red. Victoria stood up straight and crossed her arms. "You know what?" she said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "I'll make you a deal, little boy. A very generous deal." The room got quiet again. Everyone wanted to hear what she would say next. "If you can actually play that piano, and I mean really play it, not just bang on the keys like a baby, then I will adopt you." She smiled, showing all her teeth. "I'll take you away from this life of mops and buckets. You'll live in my mansion. You'll eat fancy food every day. You'll never have to clean another floor." The crowd gasped. Then they laughed even harder than before. "Victoria, you can't be serious," someone said. She's just joking. The boy probably can't even spell piano. But Victoria wasn't laughing anymore. She was staring at Marcus with eyes like a hawk watching a mouse. "Well," she said, "do we have a deal? Or are you going to admit that you're just a cleaning boy who doesn't belong here?" Marcus stood there, frozen. His yellow gloves felt heavy. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear in his ears. Everyone was watching him, waiting, judging. He thought about his mama, probably cleaning bathrooms somewhere in this huge mansion right now. He thought about their tiny apartment with the leaky ceiling. He thought about the broken piano that didn't sing anymore. And then he thought about the one thing his mama always told him when she taught him to play. Music isn't about being rich or poor, baby. Music is about what's in your heart. Marcus took a deep breath. Then very slowly, he started pulling off his yellow gloves, one finger at a time. The ballroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Well, Victoria said, her smile getting bigger. The little janitor boy thinks he's going to put on a show. Marcus walked toward the piano. His legs felt wobbly like jelly. Every step seemed to take forever. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, but not because they respected him. They wanted to see him fail. They wanted to laugh at him even more. When he reached the piano bench, Marcus stopped. His hands were shaking. Behind him, someone whispered, "This is going to be embarrassing." Another voice said, "Someone should stop this before the boy humiliates himself." But nobody stopped him. Marcus sat down on the bench. It was soft and fancy, nothing like the wobbly stool at home. He looked at the keys, black and white, perfectly clean, shining under the chandelier light. He placed his fingers on the keys. An entire ballroom held its breath. For a moment, Marcus didn't move. His fingers rested on the cool piano keys like sleeping butterflies. He could feel everyone's eyes burning into his back like hot sunshine. "Any day now, boy." Victoria's voice cut through the silence. "We don't have all night." Someone in the crowd snickered. Marcus closed his eyes. He didn't want to see their mean faces anymore. He didn't want to see Victoria's cruel smile or the way people were shaking their heads at him. In the darkness behind his eyelids, he remembered his mama's tiny apartment living room. He remembered the old brown piano with the chipped paint and the wonky leg that Mama had to prop up with 3 thick books. He remembered being 6 years old, climbing onto the stool for the first time. "Baby," Mama had said, taking his small hands in hers. "Playing piano isn't about pushing buttons. It's about feeling. You got to feel the music in your bones, in your belly, in your heart. You play what you feel, and the music will be true." Marcus remembered rainy afternoons when Mama came home tired from cleaning rich people's houses. Her hands would be red and rough from scrubbing floors and washing dishes. But she would sit at that broken piano anyway, and her fingers would dance across the keys like magic. The music she made wasn't fancy. It was simple and honest. It sounded like sunshine after rain. It sounded like hugs. It sounded like home. "Feel it, baby," she would whisper. "Don't think so hard. Just feel." Now, sitting at this expensive piano in this fancy ballroom full of mean people, Marcus tried to feel. He felt the shame burning in his chest. He felt the anger at being laughed at. He felt the love for his mama, who worked so hard for him every single day. And he felt something else, too. Something strong and bright and powerful. He felt brave. Marcus pressed down on one key. Just one. The note floated out into the ballroom, soft and gentle, like a bird's first song in the morning. Someone laughed. "Is that it? One note?" But Marcus didn't stop. He pressed another key, then another. His fingers started moving slowly, carefully, like he was telling a secret. The melody was simple at first. It wobbled a little bit, like a baby learning to walk. But then something amazing happened. Marcus stopped thinking. He started feeling. His fingers began to move faster. The notes started flowing together like a river. The music grew bigger and stronger. It filled up the whole ballroom, climbing up to the chandeliers and bouncing off the walls. Marcus played the song his mama taught him, the one about hope and hard work and never giving up. His hands moved across the keys like they were dancing, sometimes soft like whispers, sometimes loud like thunder. The piano sang, and Marcus sang with it, not with his voice, but with his heart. Behind him, the laughter stopped. The ballroom got so quiet that Marcus could hear his own breathing. He played the part where the music gets sad, the part that sounds like rain and tears and lonely nights. His fingers pressed the low keys that rumbled like storm clouds. He thought about all the times Mama came home too tired to smile. He thought about the times they ate bread and butter for dinner, because that's all they had. Then the music changed. It got brighter, happier. The notes climbed higher and higher, like a bird flying toward the sun. This was the part about tomorrow, about hope, about believing that good things can happen even when everything seems dark. Marcus's fingers flew across the keys now. He wasn't scared anymore. He wasn't embarrassed. He was free. The music poured out of him like water from a waterfall. It was beautiful and wild and true. It was everything his mama had taught him. It was everything he felt inside. When he played the last note, his hands were shaking. The sound faded away slowly, like smoke disappearing into the air. Marcus opened his eyes. He was afraid to turn around. Afraid to see Victoria's mean smile. Afraid to hear more laughter. But there was no laughter. There was only silence. Heavy, thick, shocked silence. Slowly, Marcus turned around on the bench. The crowd of rich people stood frozen like statues. Their mouths hung open. Their eyes were wide. Some of the women had tears running down their cheeks, messing up their makeup. Victoria's face had gone pale. Her mean smile was completely gone. She looked like someone had just dumped cold water on her head. A man in the back started clapping. Just one person at first. Clap, clap, clap. Then another person joined in. Then another. Then everyone. The applause filled the ballroom like thunder. People were clapping so hard their hands must have hurt. Some were even cheering. Extraordinary, someone shouted. That was beautiful, said another voice. Where did he learn to play like that? Victoria stood there, not clapping. Her face was red now. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but no words came out. That's when Marcus heard another sound. Running footsteps. Marcus. His mama burst into the ballroom through the servants' door. Her eyes were wide with panic. She was still wearing her cleaning apron, and her hair was messy. She must have heard the piano music from wherever she was working. Mama. Marcus jumped off the bench and ran to her. She grabbed him and pulled him close, hugging him so tight he could barely breathe. Baby, what happened? Why were you playing? Are you okay? I'm okay, Mama, Marcus whispered into her shoulder. I'm okay. His mama turned to face the crowd. Her voice was shaking. I'm so sorry, everyone. Please forgive us. I only brought my son because I had no one to watch him tonight. I told him to stay in the corner. He shouldn't have touched the piano. Please don't be angry. She looked at Victoria. Ma'am, I'm sorry. We didn't mean any disrespect. But before Victoria could answer, a different voice spoke up. Disrespect? An old man pushed through the crowd. He had gray hair and was wearing an expensive gray suit. His face was kind but serious. The only person who showed disrespect tonight was you, Victoria. Victoria's face went even redder. Excuse me? You heard me, the old man said. His voice was strong and powerful. That boy just played more beautifully than any professional we've hired for these parties. And what did you do? You mocked him. You treated him like dirt. You made a cruel joke about adopting him, thinking he would fail. The old man walked over to Marcus and his mama. He looked down at Marcus with warm eyes. Young man, he said, that was the most honest, most heartfelt music I've heard in 20 years. You have a gift. Marcus didn't know what to say. He just held on to his mama tighter. The old man turned back to Victoria. Well, you made a promise, didn't you? You said if he could play, you'd adopt him. The whole crowd went silent again. Everyone stared at Victoria. She looked like she wanted to run away. Victoria's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Her face turned different shades of red. First pink, then crimson, then almost purple. I was just... She stammered. It was obviously a joke. Nobody actually thought. A joke? The old man's voice got louder. You humiliated this child in front of 100 people. You made him prove his worth like he was some kind of performing animal. And now that he's shown you what he's capable of, you want to call a joke." Other people in the crowd started nodding. Some were whispering to each other. "She did say she'd adopt him," someone muttered. "That was pretty cruel," said another voice. Victoria's hands were shaking now. She looked around desperately, like she was hoping someone would save her. But nobody came to help her. Even a man in a white suit who had laughed at Marcus earlier was looking at the floor, embarrassed. Marcus's mama stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but strong like steel. "Ma'am, my son doesn't need you to adopt him. He already has a family. He has me." She put her hand on Marcus's shoulder. "I might not have fancy dresses or a big mansion. I might clean floors for a living, but I love my boy more than anything in this whole world. I work hard so he can eat. I work hard so he has a roof over his head. And I taught him to play piano because I wanted him to have something beautiful in his life." Mama's voice got even stronger. "You can keep your fancy house, ma'am. You can keep your cruel jokes. My son is not for sale, and he's not a prize to be won. He's a blessing, and he belongs with me." The ballroom erupted in applause again. But this time it was different. This time, people were clapping for Mama. Several women were crying openly now, dabbing their eyes with fancy handkerchiefs. "Well said," someone shouted. "That's a real mother," said another voice. Victoria looked like she had been slapped. Her face crumbled. For just a second, Marcus saw something in her eyes that looked almost like shame. She turned and pushed through the crowd, her royal blue dress swishing behind her. She disappeared through a doorway, and nobody tried to stop her. The old man in the gray suit smiled at Marcus and his mama. "Ma'am, your son has an extraordinary gift. Has he ever had proper piano lessons?" Mama shook her head. "No, sir. I taught him everything I know, but I'm not a professional. I just wanted him to have music in his life." The old man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small white card. "My name is Thomas Wellington. I own the Wellington Music Academy downtown. I'd like to offer your son a full scholarship, free lessons with the best piano teachers in the city, free use of our practice rooms, everything he needs to develop his talent." Mama's eyes went wide. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes." Mr. Wellington smiled. "The world needs to hear this boy play." Marcus looked up at his mama. Her eyes were filled with tears, but they were happy tears this time. She squeezed his hand. "What do you think, baby? Would you like that?" Marcus nodded, so hard his whole body shook. "Yes, Mama, yes." Mr. Wellington shook Mama's hand, then bent down and shook Marcus's hand, too. "You start next week, young man, and don't worry about transportation. We'll send a car for you." Other people from the crowd started coming forward now. A woman in a green dress said she wanted to donate money for Marcus's education. A man said he owned a music store and would give Marcus any books he needed. Another lady said she knew someone at the local theater who was looking for young talent. Marcus couldn't believe what was happening. An hour ago, he was just a boy scrubbing floors, trying to be invisible. Now, all these fancy people wanted to help him. They wanted to hear him play. They saw him not as a poor cleaning boy, but as a musician, as someone special. But the best part was the way Mama was smiling. She was glowing like the sun. She was proud, and for the first time in a long time, she wasn't tired. After a while, the crowd started going back to their party. Some people kept coming up to say nice things to Marcus. A few even apologized for laughing at him earlier. When almost everyone was gone, Mama took Marcus's hand. "Come on, baby. Let's go home." They walked toward the servants' door, the small door in the back that the workers used. Marcus looked back one more time at the beautiful grand piano sitting in the corner of the ballroom. "Mama," he said quietly. "Yes, baby?" "Thank you for teaching me to play." Mama stopped walking. She knelt down so she was eye to eye with Marcus. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. "Baby, you don't have to thank me. Watching you play tonight, seeing all those people finally see how special you are, that was the greatest gift you could ever give me." She hugged him tight. "I'm so proud of you." Not because you played beautifully, though you did. I'm proud because you were brave. When they tried to make you feel small, you stood tall. That's the most important thing I could ever teach you." Marcus hugged her back. His fingers still tingled from playing the piano. He could still feel the smooth keys under his fingertips. He could still hear the music echoing in his head. As they walked out into the cool night air, Marcus thought about everything that had happened. He thought about Victoria's mean words. He thought about the laughter and the mocking. He thought about how scared he had been. But then he thought about the music. He thought about how the whole room went quiet when he played. He thought about Mr. Wellington's kind eyes and the scholarship and all the people who wanted to help. Most of all, he thought about Mama, how she stood up for him, how she protected him, how she loved him no matter what. "Mama?" Marcus said as they walked down the street toward the bus stop. "Yes, baby." "Next time we come to a fancy party, I'm not going to try to be invisible anymore." Mama laughed, a real, genuine, happy laugh. "Good, baby, because you shine too bright to hide." They got on the bus that would take them back to their tiny apartment with the leaky ceiling and the broken piano. But somehow, that apartment felt like a mansion tonight, because Marcus had something more valuable than money or fancy dresses or big houses. He had his music. He had his talent. He had his mama's love. And he had proved to himself and to everyone in that ballroom that where you come from doesn't decide where you're going. That being poor doesn't mean you're not important. That a boy in yellow cleaning gloves can make music that makes people cry. As the bus rumbled through the city streets, Marcus rested his head on Mama's shoulder. His fingers were still tingling. Tomorrow, he would go to school like normal. But next week, he would walk into the Wellington Music Academy. He would learn from real teachers. He would practice on real pianos. And someday, maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years, but someday he would play in concert halls. He would make beautiful music for thousands of people. And every time he sat down at a piano, he would remember this night, the night he stopped being invisible, the night he learned that his music could speak louder than any cruel words, the night everything changed. If you love Marcus's story, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below telling us what you felt when Marcus started playing. And subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us your circumstances don't define your destiny. Your courage does. See you in the next story.